On the night of December 2nd, 1984, over 30 tons of highly toxic gases were accidentally released from the Union Carbide plant in Bhopal. Within hours, over 3,000 people lost their lives. The number of dead was later pegged at 15,000 by various agencies. It came just a month after the deadly anti-Sikh riots in Delhi and nearby areas, making 1984 a particularly bad year for both Indian democracy and industry. The Bhopal plant was owned by US multinational Union Carbide Corporation at the time of the leak. Over a decade later, on June 7, 2010, a Bhopal court sentenced Keshub Mahindra, along with 6 others, to 2-year imprisonment. Mahindra, who was the non-executive chairman of Union Carbide India at the time of the gas leak, got bail on July 1st. And about 13 years later, while paying tribute to Mahindra, Maruti Suzuki chairman R.C. Bhargava described his conviction in the case as the biggest challenge he had faced. Shortly after Keshub Mahindra's conviction, HDFC chairman Deepak Parekh had said that if the government cracked down on independent chairmen or directors for lapses they were not directly responsible for, people would refuse to take up such assignments. Parekh had said that this would cost India Inc., which was facing a shortage of independent directors. Referring to Mahindra's case, Parekh had asked how a non-executive chairman could be responsible for a design flaw in the plant. Keshub Mahindra was booked under the same sections as the managing director, executive director, works manager, and others directly involved in Union Carbide India's day-to-day running. He was charged with the offence of causing death by a rash and negligent act under Section 304A of the Indian Penal Code. The same charge faced by the plant operator who allegedly refused to act promptly despite being informed about the gas leak. His sentence was also the same as that awarded to the other accused. As such, many in India Inc. made the argument in Mahindra's favour that the charges he faced were out of sync with his role as a non-executive chairman. A non-executive chairman's role is unconnected with the day-to-day management of the business. Instead, it is concerned with effective management of the board and providing third-party governance. As such, how is this designation defined under the law?
Chairman is not a defined term under the Companies Act. What the articles of association normally do is to vest the chairman with certain powers regarding conducting meetings of the companies, whether the shareholders' meetings or the board of directors' meeting, he has certain powers.
The Companies Act does not explicitly define a non-executive director either. Instead, any director who is not in the whole-time employment of the company falls in that category. They are also not involved in day-to-day operations. While a non-executive chairman leads the board deliberations, a non-executive director participates. Coming back to the Bhopal gas tragedy case, legal experts said that in its wake, it could be concluded that if a non-executive director was also the company's chairman, he could be held responsible for its wrongdoings due to his participation in discussions held at the board meetings he presided over. So, its merits aside, has the situation changed since the Bhopal gas tragedy case?
This reform hasn't taken place to kind of insulate the non-executive chairperson. The court has, in Sunil Bharti Mittal's case in 2019, has laid down the principles. So that he should have played an active role. There should be criminal intent. Those are the grounds that are there in that judgment. The court has tried to narrow the limits of prosecution, but it's not that that a prosecution can't start.
What the legislature has done is that the onus of proof is actually on the non-executive chairman or a director that he was in fact not aware of what was the dealing. So it is no longer associated or attached to the designation that just because he's a non-executive chairman or a director, he ought not to know anything. The presumption is he should know everything unless he rebuts by way of an evidence that he was in fact not a party to any decision. So that's what is very clear now under the new Companies Act.
Even today, Indian company law does not really distinguish between executive and non-executive directors. Investors, especially overseas ones, often prefer to have a board seat in a non-executive role to protect their investments. So, in the spirit of ease of doing business, framing specific roles and responsibilities for such posts may be warranted, such that merely attending a meeting would not make them liable or responsible.
If you look at some of the jurisdictions like Singapore, they have a specific provision which talks about an external professional director and they are actually professionals and they are not required to get into the day-to-day management. We could have some similar principle. And in today's world, when there are so many private equity venture capital investments happening, and a lot of people opt to have a non-executive director on the board, I think it will help if there is some clarity that, these are non-executive directors, they are purely there to protect their financial investments.
This will provide investors, foreign and domestic alike, with the confidence to take up non-executive positions in the boards of Indian companies, which could benefit from their strategic guidance. However, policymakers may not find much public support in relaxing the rules, given that the ghost of the world's worst industrial disaster is yet to be laid to rest in Bhopal.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.